Book 1. I hope to have struck a balance in my little book such that nobody can complain of them who has a good opinion of himself. Their jesting is, with respect of persons, even the humblest. Respect which was so lacking in writers of old that they made free not only with real names, but even with great ones. I would not have fame at such a price. Ingenuity is the last quality for which I seek approval. My quips are straightforward. I want no interpreter's malice, and beg that nobody write addresses on my epigrams. It is a scurvy trick to be ingenious with another man's book. As for the license I use in calling a spade, the language of the epigram, that is to say, I should make apology if the example were of my setting. But that is how Catullus writes, and Marsus, and Pedo, and Gaetulicus, and whoever else is read all through. However, should any man so flaunt his prudery that Latin cannot be spoken on any page in his presence, he can make do with my letter, or better, my title. Epigrams are written for those who used to watch Florus's games. Let Cato keep out of my theatre, or if he comes in, let him watch. I think I shall be within my rights if I conclude my letter in verse. You knew of sprightly Flora's ritual fun, the festal jests and license of the rout. Then why, stern Cato, come to watch? Have done. Or did you come in simply to walk out? 1. You read him, you asked for him, and here he is, Martial, known the world over for his witty little books of epigrams. Devoted reader, the glory you have given him while he lives and feels comes to few poets in their graves. 2. You who want my little books to keep you company wherever you may be and desire their companionship on a long journey, buy these, that parchment compresses in small pages. Give book boxes to the great. One hand grasps me. But in case you don't know where I am on sale and stray wandering all over town, you will be sure of your way under my guidance. Look for Secundus, freedman of lettered Lucensis, behind Pisa's entrance and Pallas's forum. 3. Would you rather live in the shops of Argiletum when my boxes have room for you, small book? Aha, little do you know the haughty ways of Lady Rome. Believe me, Mars's children are smart to a degree. Nowhere are sniffs more emphatic. Young men, old men, boys, they all have noses like a rhino. When you have heard a mighty bravo, as you are throwing your kisses, you'll be tossed to the stars from a shaken blanket. But rather than put up with your master's continual erasures, rather than let his stern pen score your jests, you are eager, you frolicker, to flit through the airs of heaven. Very well, off with you, but you might have been safer at home. 4. Caesar, if you happen to light upon my little books, put aside the frown that rules the world. Even the triumphs of emperors are wont to tolerate jests, and a warlord is not ashamed to be a matter of quips. Read my verses, I beg, with the expression with which you watch Timely and jesting Latinus. A censor can permit harmless jollity. My page is wanton, but my life is virtuous. 5. I give you a sea fight, you give me epigrams. Methinks you want to be in the water with your book, Marcus. 6. As the eagle bore the boy through the airs of heaven, the timid talons did not harm their clinging freight. Now Caesar's lions are won over by their prey, and the hare placed safely in the massive jaws. Which do you think the greater marvel? Behind both stands the highest. The one is Caesar's, the other Jove's. 7. My Stella's pet, Maximus, his dove, I may say it through Verona's here, has surpassed Catullus' sparrow. My Stella is greater than your Catullus, by as much as a dove is greater than a sparrow. 8. Decianus, in following the tenets of the great Thrasea and consummate Cato, but at the same time wishing to survive and not rushing bare-breasted upon drawn swords, you do as I would have had you do. I am not for the hero who buys fame with easy blood. I am for him who can win glory without dying. 9. Cotta, you would like to be seen as a pretty fellow, and as a big man. But a pretty fellow, Cotta, is a petty fellow. 10. Gemellus is a wooing Maronilla. He is eager and insistent, begs her, gives her presents. Is she such a beauty? On the contrary, she couldn't be uglier. So what is so desirable about her, so attractive? Her cough. A knight is given 10 tokens. Why then do you take 20 drinks on your own, Sextilianus? The waiters carrying hot water would have run out of it by now, Sextilianus, if you were not drinking your wine neat. 12. On the road to the chilly heights of Herculean Tibur, where white Albula steams with her sulphurous waters, the 4th milestone from the neighboring city makes a farm and a sacred wood, acres dear to the Muses. Here a crumbling colonnade used to offer summer shade. Ah, how near did that colonnade come to committing a shocking crime, for all of a sudden it collapsed in ruin, after Regulus and his carriage and pair had ridden under the masonry. Fortune surely feared our reproaches. She could not face such odium. As it is, even the loss is welcome, the very danger is worthwhile. A standing structure could not have proved that there are gods. 13. When virtuous Arria was handing her Paetus the sword she had drawn from her own flesh, she said, I swear the wound I have dealt does not hurt, but the wound you will deal, Paetus, that hurts me. 14. We have seen the pranks, the sportive gambols of the lions. Caesar, this too the arena offers you. When the hare as often as seized returned from the gentle fang and ran at large through the open jaws. How comes it that a greedy lion can spare his captive prey? Ah, but he is said to be yours, therefore he can. 15. Julius, whom I must needs name second to none of my cronies if long-standing loyalty and ancient ties account for anything, already a 60th consul is almost upon you, and yet your life scarce numbers a few days. You will be wrong to put off what you see can be denied you. You should reckon only the past as yours. Cares and toils linked one to another wait our turn, but joys never linger. They take wings and fly. Grasp them with both hands. Take them for yours. Hug them close. Even so, they often slip away from the bosom's depth. Believe me, the wise man does not say, I shall live. Tomorrow's life is too late. Live today. 16. There are good things that you read here, and some indifferent, and more bad. Not otherwise, Avitus, is a book made. 17. Titus urges me to turn advocate, and often tells me, it's a fine field. The field is fine, Titus, when the farmer knows his business. 18. Tuca, what satisfaction do you get out of mixing must stored in Vatican jars with old Falernian? What great good have vile vines done you, or fine wines what harm? Never mind about us. It's a crime to murder Falernian and put fierce toxins into Campanian vintage. Maybe your guest deserved to perish, but so costly a jar did not deserve to die. 19. If I remember rightly, you had 4 teeth, Aelia. One cough expelled 2, another 2 more. Now you can cough all day with a mind at ease. A third cough, in your case, can have no effect. 20. Tell me, what folly is this? You devour mushrooms on your own, Caecilianus, before the eyes of the invited multitude. What fate shall I call down upon you to match so big a belly and so big an appetite? May you eat such a mushroom as Claudius ate. 21. When the right hand that sought the king was misled by a courtier, it thrust itself upon the sacred hearth, there to perish. But the chivalrous foe brooked not so cruel a marvel. He snatched the hero from the flames and bade him depart. The hand that Mucius could burn, despising the fire, Porsenna could not bear to watch. Misled, the hand won greater fame and glory. Had it not erred, it had accomplished less. 22. Wherefore, O hare, are you fleeing the jaws of the gentle lion? They have not learned to crunch animals so small. These claws are kept for massive necks, and so large a thirst takes no joy in blood so scanty. A hare is prey for dogs. It does not fill vast cavities. A Dacian boy would not fear Caesar's arms. 23. You never invite anybody, Cotta, unless you have bathed with him. Only the baths give you a guest. I used to wonder why you had never asked me to dinner. Now I know that you didn't like me in the nude. 24. Decianus, you see that fellow there with the rough hair, whose beetling brow frightens even you, who talks of Curii and Camilli, freedom's champions. Don't believe his looks. He took a husband yesterday. 25. At long last, Faustinus, give your little books to the public. Put forth the work that your accomplished wit has polished, work which the Cecropian towers of Pandion would not reject, nor our own forebears pass by in silence. Do you hesitate to let fame in when she stands at your door? Are you reluctant to take the reward for your pains? Your pages will live after you. Let them also begin to live through you. Glory comes late to the grave. 26. Sextilianus, you drink on your own as much as 5 rows. You could get drunk on water in such quantity. You ask for bronze takens, not only neighboring ones from people sitting with you, but from blocks further off. This vintage is not moved through Pylenian presses. This grape is not born on the hills of Tuscany. We are draining a happy bottle of old Opimius, and a Massic cellar unloads its blackened jars. Ask an innkeeper for a Lelatanian lees if you take more than 10 drinks, Sextilianus. 27. Last night, after getting through 4 pints or so, I asked you to dine with me this evening, Proculus. You thought you had the matter settled then and there, and made a mental note of my tipsy words, a very dangerous precedent. I don't like a boozing partner with memory, Proculus. 28. Anybody who thinks that Akira reeks of yesterday's wine misses his guess. Akira always drinks till sunrise. 29. Rumor has it, Fidentius, that you recite my little books in public just like your own. If you want the poems called mine, I'll send you them for nothing. If you want them called yours, buy out of my ownership. 30. Diabolus was once a surgeon. Now he's an undertaker. He started to practice medicine the only way he knew how. 31. These locks, all he has from crown down, does Encopus, the darling of his master the centurion, vow to you, Phobus, when Pudens shall obtain the rank of chief centurion which he wants and deserves. Cut the long tresses as soon as may be, Phobus, while no down darkens his soft cheeks and flowing locks grace his milk-white neck, and so that master and lad may long enjoy your bounty. Make him soon shorn, but late a man. 32. I like you not, Sabidius. I can't tell why. All I can tell is this. I like you not. 33. Gellia does not cry for her lost father when she's by herself. But if she has company, out spring the tears to order. Gellia, whoever seeks credit for mourning is no mourner. He truly grieves who grieves without witnesses. 34. Lesbia, When you turn your tricks, you don't hide them. The doors are always open and unguarded. A spectator gives you more pleasure than a lover, and you have no use for joys concealed. A prostitute, on the other hand, drives witnesses away with curtain and bolt, and rarely does a chink gape in Sumemius's brothel. Learn modesty from Chione or Eos, if from nobody else. Even dirty whores take cover in tombs. Do you find my strictures too harsh? I am not telling you not to get fucked, Lesbia, only not to get caught. 35. Cornelius, you grumble that I write risque verses, not the sort a schoolmaster would dictate in class. But these little books are like husbands with their wives. They can't please without a cock. You might as well tell me to sing a wedding song without using wedding song words. Does everybody put clothes on in Floris's festival? Or allow whores the modesty of the matron's robe? There's a law laid down for merry verses. They can't be good for anything unless they itch. So please, put prudery aside and spare my jests and jollities, and don't try to emasculate my little books. There's nothing uglier than a neutered Priapus. 36. If you, Lucanus, or you, Tullus, were vouchsafed such a destiny as Leda's Laconian sons enjoy, a noble conflict of fraternal love would ensue between you, each wishing to die first for his brother, and whichever went first to the shades below would say, "Live in your time, brother, and live in mine." 37. You receive your belly's load, Bassa, in gold, unlucky gold, and are not ashamed of it. You drink out of glass, so it costs you more to shit. 38. The little book you are reciting, Fidentius, belongs to me, but when you recite it badly, it belongs to you. 39. If one there be to be numbered with such rare friends as old-time faith and ancient fame know of, one steeped in the arts of Cecropian and Latin Minerva, a good man, truly, without guile, if one there be that guards the right, admires virtue, and asks nothing from the gods with secret lips, if one there be that rests on the strength of a noble heart, hang me if his name be not Decianus. 40. Jealousy, do you grimace? Do you hate to read such things? Then be envious of all, envied of none. 41. You fancy yourself a wit, Caecilius? Believe me, you're not. What then? You're a vulgar buffoon. What you are, the cheap jack from across Tiber is, who barters yellow sulphur matches for broken glass, and the vendor of steaming peas pudding to the idle crowd, and the keeper-owner of reptiles, and the saltfish-monger's worthless varlets, and the bawling cook who totes smoking sausages round stuffy bistros, and the second-rate alley poet, and the shameless impresario from Gaudi's, and the smart mouth of an aging queen. So, Caecilius, stop fancying yourself what nobody else fancies you, fit to outdo Gabba with your quips and Tetius Cabalus himself. It is not given to everyone to have a nose. He who jests with blockish impudence is no Tetius. He's a Cabalus. 42. When Porcia heard of her husband's Brutus' fate, and her grief sought the weapons that had been put out of its reach, "Have you not learned," she said, "that there is no denying death? I had thought my father had taught the lesson by the manner of his dying." So saying, she eagerly imbibed glowing embers. What now, you tiresome servitors? Deny steel? 43. Twice 30 of us were invited to dinner yesterday, Mancinus, and nothing was set before us but boar. No grapes preserved from late maturing vines, nor honey apples that rival sweet honeycombs, nor pears that hang tied with length of broom, nor pomegranates looking like roses cut short, Neither did rustic Sassina send her milky cones, nor came olives from piscine jars. No, naked boar, and a tiny one at that, such as unarmed midget might lay low. And nothing of it came our way. We all just watched. The arena is apt to serve us boar in that fashion. After such behavior, I hope that boar will never again be served you, but that you will be served to the same boar as Charidemus. 44. Do my pages large and small contain the game some run of hares and the play of lions? Do I do the same thing twice over? Well, if this seems too much to you, Stella, why not on your side give me hare twice over for dinner? 45. Rather than have my work published in small volumes and so go to waste, let me say to him in answer. 46. Hedylus, when you say, I'm in a hurry, do it if you're going to. Forthwith my passion languishes. Crippled, it subsides. Tell me to wait, and I shall go all the faster for the check. Hedylus, if you're in a hurry, tell me not to be in a hurry. 47. Diaeolus used to be a doctor till recently. Now he's an undertaker. What the undertaker does, the doctor used to do. 48. The trainers did not snatch bulls from these jaws through which the hare, fugitive prey, passes in and out. And what is more remarkable, he comes out of his enemy faster than before. He brings something back from so noble a creature. He is no safer running along deserted sands. Inside a cage he is less surely protected. If you want to avoid dogs' bites, saucy hare, you have the lion's mouth to run to. 49. Licinianus, worthy to be acclaimed by the peoples of Celtiberia, glory of our Spain, you will see Bilbilis on her height, famed for her horses and her weapons, and old Caius in his snows, and sacred Vedavero set in rugged hills, and the pleasant wood of pretty Botedras, beloved of bounteous Pomona. You will swim in the gentle shoals of warm Congadus, and the soft lakes of the nymphs, and, when they have relaxed your frame, you will brace it with shallow sallow, that chill steel. There, Voberca will provide you freely with animals to shoot at close range while you lunch. You will mitigate the cloudless heat with golden tagus, hidden in the forest shades. Chill Derketa will assuage your eager thirst, and Nutha colder than snow. And when rimy December and winter wild shall howl with the hoarse north wind, you will go back to the sunny shores of Tarraco and your own Lalatania. There you will slaughter deer snared in soft mesh toils, and native boars, and run the cunning hare to death with your stout horse. Stags you will leave to the bailiff. The nearby wood shall come down right to your hearth, and its girdle of grimy brats. The hunter will be invited. Shout from close by, and a guest will come to share your dinner. Nowhere will you see a crescent shoe-buckle, or a gown or clothes that smell of purple dye. Far away will be the grim beadle and the grumbling client. Far away imperious windows. No pale defendant will interrupt your deep slumbers. You will sleep all through the early morning. Let another wind the loud, crazy bravo! Do you pity the successful and unassumingly enjoy true happiness while your friend Sura gets applause? When fame is satisfied, life may fairly look for what remains. 50. If your cook, Aemilianus, is named Mystilos, why should not mine be called Taratella? 51. Only a prime neck is fit for savage lions. Why court these fangs, ambitious hare? Do you think they would care to descend from mighty bulls to you and break a neck they don't see? You must not hope for the glory of a giant death. So puny a quarry cannot die by such a foe. 52. Quintilianus, I commend you my little books. That is, however, if I can call them mine when your poet friend recites them. If they complain of harsh enslavement, come forward to claim their freedom and give bail as required. And when he calls himself their owner, say they are mine, discharged from my hand. If you shout this 3 or 4 times, you will make the kidnapper ashamed of himself. 53. Fidentius, there is one page of yours in my little book, only one, but stamped with the sure likeness of its owner, and it holds your poems up to scorn as a manifest theft. So a Lingonian overcoat put among city Trientines contaminates them with its greasy wool. So crocks from Arretium dishonor crystal glasses. So a black raven, wandering mayhap on Caster's banks among Leda swans, becomes a laughingstock. So when a sacred wood is alive with many-toned nightingales, an impudent magpie grates upon their Cecropian laments. My books needs no informer, no judge. Your page confronts you and says, you are a thief. 54. Flaccus, if you still have time to be loved, for you have friends on this side and on that, I ask a spot, if there is one left. And don't refuse me because I'm new to you. All your old friends were that once. Only look and see whether a new acquisition can become an old crony. 55. Fronto, shining glory of sword and gown, if you wish to know in brief your friend Marcus's dearest wish, this is what he wants. To farm land, a little plot of his own. He loves independence, be it rough and humble. Is any man so silly as to court the painted chill of Spartan stone, conveying morning greetings when he could be happy with the spoils of woodland and countryside? Unfolding his loaded nets before the fireplace, pulling in leaping fish with the tremulous line, bringing yellow honey forth from a ruddy jar, while the bailiff's buxom wife loads the rickety table and unpaid-for ash cooks the eggs he owns. Whoever loves not me, I pray he love not such a life, and live wave-faced amid the obligations of the town. 56. The grapes are drenched, lashed by continual showers. Innkeeper, you cannot sell wine unwatered, even if you wished. 57. You ask me, Flaccus, what sort of girl I want, or don't want. I don't want one too easy or one too hard to get. I like a medium, something between the two. I don't want to be teased, nor yet to be glutted. 58. The salesman asked me 100,000 for a boy. I laughed, but Phoebus gave it right away. My cock is hurt and grumbles about me to himself, and Phoebus gets a commendation at my expense. But Phoebus's cock presented him with a tidy 2 million. Give me that much, you, and I'll go higher. 59. The dole at Baiae presents me with 100 farthings. What is such poverty doing amid luxury? Give me back the murky baths of Lupus and Gryllus. When my dinner's this bad, why should my bath be good? 60. Hare, though you enter the grim lion's spacious mouth, yet the lion thinks his fangs are empty. What back shall he rush at? Onto what shoulders shall he launch himself? Where shall he plant the deep wound, meat for steers? Why do you tease in vain the lord and king of the forests? He feeds only on the beasts of his choice. 61. Verona loves the name tags of an accomplished poet. Mantua is fortunate in Maro. The land of Aponus rests its reputation on its Livy, and no less on Stella and Flaccus. Rain-bearing Nile applauds Apollodorus. The Pyligni resound with Naso. Eloquent Corduba talks of the 2 Senecas and the one and only Lucan. Mary Gaudes rejoices in Hyrcanius. Emerita in my Decianus. You, Licinianus, shall our Bibulus vaunt? nor of me be silent? 62. Livina was virtuous, yielding no wit to the Sabine dames of old, sourer than her husband, straight-laced though he was. But as she trusted herself to the Lucrine, or anon to Avernus, and often let the waters of Baiae relax her, she fell into the furnace and left her husband for a younger man. Arriving Penelope, she departed Helen. 63. You asked me to recite my epigrams for your benefit. Not I. You don't want to listen, Keller. You want to recite. 64. You're pretty, we know. You're young, true, and rich, who can deny it? But when you praise yourself too much, Fabula, you are neither rich, nor pretty, nor young. 65. When I say ficus, Sextilianus, you laugh as if at a barbarism and require that one says ficus. We will say ficus, for the kind we know grow on trees. We will say ficus for your kind, Sextilianus. 66. You're mistaken, greedy purloiner of my books, in thinking that it costs no more to become a poet than the price of copying and a cheap length of papyrus. Applause is not to be had for 6 or 10 sesterces. You must look for a private, unpublished work, poems known only to the parent of the virgin sheet, which he keeps sealed up in his book-box, work not rubbed rough by hard chins. A well-known book cannot change author. But if you find one whose face is not yet smoothed by the pumice stone, one not embellished with bosses and parchment cover, buy it. I have such, and nobody will be the wiser. Whoever recites other men's productions and seeks fame thereby ought to buy, not a book, but silence. 67. You are too free-spoken. So you are always telling me, Carolus. Whoever talks against you, Carolus, speaks free. 68. Whatever Rufus is doing, for Rufus there is nothing but Naevia, if he's happy, if he's weeping, if he's silent, he talks to her. He eats his dinner, drinks a health, asks a favor, refuses one, makes a sign. It's all Naevia. If there should be no Naevia, he will be dumb. When he wrote a greeting to his father yesterday morning, Naevia, light of my eyes, says he, Naevia, light of my life, good morning. Naevia reads this and smiles, lowering her face. There's more than one Naevia. Why, silly man, are you such a fool? 69. Tarentos used to feature Pan, Maximus. Now she has begun to feature Connius. 70. Go in my place and present my greetings, book. You are bidden to proceed in duty to Proculus's handsome house. You ask the way? I'll tell you. You will pass the Temple of Castor, close by ancient Vesta, and the House of the Virgins. From there you will take the sacred slope and make for the august Palatine, where shines many an image of our exalted leader. Do not be delayed by the rayed mass of the marvelous Colossus that joys to outdo the work of rods. Make a turn at the dwelling of tipsy Laius, where stands Cybele's dome with its painted corybants. Right ahead on your left, the shining facade of a mansion and the hall of a lofty house await your approach. Seek this house. Have no fear of arrogance and a haughty threshold. The doorway opens wide from post to post, none wider, and to none does Phoebus and the poetic sisterhood bear closer affection. If he shall say, why does he not come in himself? You may make this excuse, because no matter what these poems are worth, a morning caller could not have written them. 71. Let Livia be drunk in 6 measures, and Justina in 7, in 5 Lycus, Lydi in 4, Ida in 3. Let each of my girls be numbered by the Falernian in my cup. And since none of them comes, Do you, sleep, come to me? 72. Fidentius, do you take yourself for a poet on the strength of my verses and want it believed? Just so Igly thinks she has teeth and virtue of purchased bones and Indian horn? Just so, like Chorus, who is blacker than a falling mulberry, fancies herself in white lead? You too, by the reasoning that makes you a poet, will have a head of hair when you are bald. 73. Nobody in all Rome would have wanted to lay a finger on your wife gratis, so long as it was permitted, Mycelianus. But now you have posted guards. There is a huge crowd of fuckers. You're a smart fellow. 74. He was your lover. However, you could deny it, Paula. There now, he's your husband. Paula, can you deny? 75. Anyone who prefers to give Linus half rather than lend him the whole prefers to lose half. 76. Flaccus, in whom I find no mean reward for my labours, hope and child of Antenor's home, defer Piraean strains and the dances of the sisterhood. No girl among them will give you a penny. What do you expect from Phobos? Minerva's box holds the cash. She's the smart one, sole creditor of all the gods. What could Bacchus's ivy give? Pallas's tree bends its party-colored foliage with its dark load. Helicon has nothing but water and garlands and the lyres of the goddesses. These and a mighty, but quite vacuous, bravo. What have you to do with Cura? What with the naked nymph of Permessus? The Roman Forum is closer and wealthier. There's where money chinks. But around our platform and around barren chairs, there is only smack of kisses. 77. Carinus is in the pink, and yet he's pale. Carinus drinks sparingly, and yet he's pale. Carinus has a good digestion, and yet he's pale. Carinus goes out in the sun, and yet he's pale. Carinus paints his skin, and yet he's pale. Carinus licks a cunt, and yet he's pale. 78. A wasting disease he little deserved was choking Festus' throat, and the black corruption crept into his very countenance. Dried-eyed himself, but with words of comfort for his weeping friends, he resolved to go to the Stygian pool. However, he did not defile his innocent lips with secret poison, nor wring out a doleful fate by slow starvation. He closed a blameless life with a Roman death, dispatching his soul by a nobler end. Fame may set this death above great Cato's fate. Caesar was this man's friend. 79. You're always pleading cases and always doing business, Attalus, whether you have anything to do or not. Attalus, you are always a-doing. If business and cases fail, you drive mules, Attalus. In case something to do fail you, Attalus, have done with you. 80. Caunus, you looked for a dole the night you died. I think it killed you, Caunus, that there was only one. 81. You know you're a slave born, Sosibianus, and you blandly admit it when you call your father Sir. 82. This colonnade that spreads its ruin at length, scattered in a mass of dust, of what a disaster it lies absolved, for Regulus had just been driven under that roof and passed out at the other end, when suddenly it collapsed under its own weight, and once relieved of fear for its owner, crashed in carefree destruction without bloodshed. Now that the fear of so great a lament has passed, who would gainsay that you are under divine protection, Regulus, on whose account ruin caused no harm? 83. Manea, your little dog licks your face and lips. Small wonder that a dog likes eating dung. 84. Quirinalis doesn't think he should have a wife, though he wants to have sons, and has found a way to achieve this. He fucks his slave girls and fills townhouse and country estate with homeborn knights. Quirinalis is a true paterfamilias. 85. A humorist of an auctioneer was selling well-cultivated area in the hills, some fine acres of land near Rome. "Anybody who thinks Marius is forced to sell is mistaken," says he. "Marius is not in debt, quite the contrary. He lends money." "So what is the reason?" "He lost all his slaves there and his livestock and crops, therefore he doesn't like the place." Who would make a bid except somebody who wanted to lose his all? So Marius is stuck with his noxious land. 86. Novius is my neighbor, and can be touched by hand from my windows. Who would not envy me and think me happy as the day is long, when I can enjoy my chum at such close quarters? Well, he is as far away from me as Terentianus, now governing Syene on the Nile. I can't have dinner with him, can't see him even or hear him. In all Rome nobody is so near me and so far away. I must move further off, or he must. Whoever doesn't want to see Novius should be Novius's neighbor or his lodger. 87. Fescenia, not wishing to reek of yesterday's wine, you greedily devour Cosmus's pastilles. Such breakfasts smear the teeth, but they are no obstacle when a belch comes back from the depth of the abyss. Moreover, the evil element smells worse when mixed with scented powder, and the double odor of the breath carries further. So away now with your too familiar tricks and detected cheats, and be a simple drunk. 88. Alcimus, whom snatched from your master in your burgeoning years the Libycan soil covers with light turf, take no tottering masses of Parian stone, gifts of vain labor doomed to fall, but take, dear boy, boxwood, easily shaped, and the vine's dim shade, and green meadows dewy with my tears, memorials of my sorrow. Dishonor for all time shall live for you. When Lachesis shall spin my last years out, I charge that my ashes lie thus, and not otherwise. 89. You're always chattering in everybody's ear, Cinna. Even what could safely be chattered in front of a crowd. You laugh in an ear, complain, accuse, weep, you sing in an ear, opine, keep silent, shout, and so deep-seated in this malady of yours, Cinna, that you often praise Caesar in an ear. 90. I never saw you close to men, Bossa, and no rumor gave you a lover. You were always surrounded by a crowd of your own sex, performing every office, with no man coming near you. So I confess, I thought you a Lucretia. But, Bossa, for shame, you were a fornicator. You dared to join two cunts, and your monstrous organ feigns masculinity. You have invented a portent worthy of the Theban riddle. Where no man is, there is adultery. 91. Although you don't publish your own poems, Laelius, you carp at mine. Either don't carp at mine or publish your own. 92. Cestus often complains to me with tears in his eyes of being touched by your finger, Marmurianus. No need for the finger. Have Cestus complete, Marmurianus, if he is all you lack. But if you have neither fireplace, nor bare bedframe, nor broken cup of Chione or Antiope, if the cloak that hangs from your loins is yellowed and patched, and a Gallic jacket covers half your buttocks, if your only food is the smell of a blackened kitchen, and you drink dirty water on your belly with the dog, why, I shall dig my finger into, not your arse, For an arse that never shits is none, but your remaining eye. And don't call me jealous or malevolent. In fine, Memorianus, sodomize on a full stomach. 93. Aquinas rests by the side of loyal Fabricius, who is glad to have been first to go to the Elysian dwellings. A double altar attests the rank of chief centurion. But what you read in the shorter inscription means more. Both were united in the sacred bond of an honorable life. And, what fame seldom knows, both were friends. 94. You sang badly, Igly, in the days when you were fucked. Now you sing well, but you're not to be kissed. 95. You are forever shouting and interrupting the barristers, Aelius. You don't do this for nothing. You take money for keeping quiet. 96. If it's not too much trouble and you don't mind, please, my limping verse, say a few words in friend Maternus's ear, so that he is the only one to hear them. That lover of sad-colored cloaks who goes about in baetic wool or grey thinks people who wear scarlet unmanly, and calls violet clothes dress for women, though he praise native stuff and be always somberly attired. His morals are green. He will ask how I come to suspect the man of effeminacy. We bathe together. He never looks up, but watches the athletes with devouring eyes, and his lips work as he gazes at their cocks. Who is it, you ask? The name has escaped me. 97. When everybody is shouting, then and then only you speak, Nivellus, and you consider yourself a defense counsel, a barrister. At that rate, anybody can be eloquent. Now then, they're all quiet. Nivellus, say something. 98. Flaccus, Diodorus goes to law and suffers with gout in the feet, but he gives nothing to his counsel. That's gout in the hand. 99. Calenus, you used to be worth under 2 million. But you were so lavish and open-handed and high-living that your friends wished you 10. A god heard our vows and prayers, and within 7 months, I think 4 deaths gave you that sum. But just as though you hadn't come into 10 million, but been robbed of it, you went off into such a miserly habit of fasting that your more sumptuous dinner parties, put on once in a whole year, cost you a mean handful of dirty copper. And the 7 of us, your old cronies, set you back 1/2 pound of bad silver plate. What prayer should we make to match such deservings? We wish you 100 million, Calenus. If you get it, you'll starve to death. 100. Afra has mamas and dadas, but she herself may be called the grandmama of dadas and mamas. 101. Once the faithful amanuensis of my studies, a boon to his master and known to the Caesars, Demetrius in his green youth deserted his opening years. To 3 lustres a 4th harvest had been added. But when the accursed pestilence held him burning in its grip, I saw to it that he did not go down a slave to the Stygian shades, and gave up all a master's rights to the sufferer. He deserved that my gift should have made him well. As his strength failed, he realized his reward and called me patron, to go a free man to the waters of the underworld. 102. Methinks the painter who painted your Venus, Lycoris, flattered Minerva. 103. If the gods give me 1,000,000, you used to say, Scaevola, before you became a regular knight, oh, how I shall live, how lavishly, how happily. The kindly gods smiled and granted. Since then, your gown is much dirtier, your overcoat shabbier, and your shoe leather has been patched and patched again. Out of 10 olives, the greater number is always saved for later, and a single serving sets forth 2 dinners. Thick lees of red Vatian is your wine. Your warm pea soup costs you a copper, your sex the same amount. Cheat and fraud that you are, let us go to court. Either live, Scaevola, or return the million to the gods. 104. The leopard carries a yoke attached to his spotted neck, and vicious tigers vouchsafe patience to the whip. Stags champ golden bits, Libyan bears are cowed with reins, and a boar, big as Calydon is said to have endured, obeys a purple halter. Ugly bisons draw chariots, and the great beast bidden perform an agile dance does not refuse his black master. Who but would think such sights are for the gods? Yet whoever sees the lions at their humble hunting, as the rapid fright of the hare teases them, passes over all this as of a slight account. They let them escape, go after them again, love them when caught, and the quarry is safe in the mouth, for they delight to offer wide open. Pervious jaws, and to hold back their timorous teeth, ashamed to chew so tender a prey when they have come fresh from laying steers low. Such clemency does not come by training. The lions know whom they serve. 105. Ovidius, when the wine that is born in the fields of Nomentum has taken to itself length of time, it sheds its character and its name with old age full of years, and the ancient jar is called whatever it desired. 106. You often take water in between your wine, Rufus, and if urged by a friend, you drink at rare intervals an ounce of diluted Falernian. Has Nivea promised you a night of bliss, and do you prefer sure fornication in sober naughtiness? You sigh, you say nothing, you groan. She has refused. Well then, you may drink bumper after bumper and kill harsh pain with neat liquor. Why spare yourself, Rufus? You have to sleep. 107. You often say to me, dearest Lucius Julius, "Write something big, you are a lazybones." Give me leisure, I mean such leisure as Maecenas once made for his Flaccus and his Virgil. Then I would try to write works that would live through the centuries and snatch my name from the funeral fires. Oxen don't like to bear the yoke into barren acres. A thick soil tires, but the very labor is joy. 108. You have, and may it stand and grow for years to come, a house, beautiful to be sure, but across the Tiber, whereas my garret looks out at the Vespasian laurels. I have grown old in this district. I must move if I am to make you a morning call, Gallus. Well, it's worthwhile, even if your house were further off, but it is nothing much to you if I furnish one client, whereas it's much to me if I deny you that one. I shall often call on you in person at the 10th hour. In the early morning my book shall bid you good day for me. 109. Isa is naughtier than Catullus' sparrow. Isa is purer than a dove's kiss. Isa is more winning than any girl. Isa is more precious than Indian pearls. Isa is a lapdog, Publius's darling. If she whines, you will think she's talking. She feels both his sadness and his joy. She lies, resting on his neck, and slumbers with not a breath perceptible. Urged by her belly's need, she never betrays the bedcover by a single drop, but rouses him with a wheedling paw and warns to put her down from the bed, and then asks to be taken up. Such is the inborn modesty of this chaste little dog. She knows nothing of love, nor can we find any husband worthy of so tender a maid. That her last day may not snatch all of her away, Publius is painting her picture. There you will see an Isa so like that herself is not so like her. In fine, compare Isa with the picture. Either you will take both for real, or you will take both for painted. 110. Velox, you complain that I write long epigrams, and yourself write nothing. Do you make shorter ones? 111. Your wisdom's fame is on a par with your devotion to the gods, and your piety is no less than the intellect that goes with it. Whoever wonders that you are presented with a book and with incense, Regulus, knows not how to make gifts to the deserving. 112. When I knew you not, I called you Lord and Patron. Now I know you well. In future, you will be Priscus to me. 113. If you wish to lay out good hours badly, and have a grudge against your leisure, reader, you will seek whatever verses I once scribbled as a young man and a boy, my rubbish which I no longer know myself, from Quintus Polius Valerianus, who will not let my trifles perish. 114. This place near town, Faustinus, neighbor to yours, with its parcel of land and water meadows, belongs to Phineas Telesphorus. Here he buried his daughter's ashes, and consecrated the name you read, Antyllus. It were more fitting than his own be read. In justice the father should have gone to the Stygian shades. Since that was not to be, may he live to cherish her bones. 115. A certain girl wants me, envy me, Proclus, one whiter than a washed swan, then silver, then snow, then lilies, then privet. But I want a certain girl, one darker than night, or ant, or pitch, or crow, or cricket. Already you are thinking of the cruel rope. If I know you well, Proclus, you will live on. 116. This wood and a few acres of cultivated soil, Phineas consecrated to the eternal honor of his dead. By this tomb is covered Antylla, snatched from her family too soon, and in this will be mingled both Antylla's parents. If any man desire this plot of land, I warn him not to hope. It will serve its lords in perpetuity. 117. Whenever you come my way, Lupercus, you say straight off, "May I send a boy for you to give him your little book of epigrams? I'll return it to you as soon as I've read it." Lupercus, you need not trouble the boy. It's a long way for him to come to Ad Purum, and I live up 3 flights of stairs, long ones too. You can look for what you want closer to hand. No doubt you often go down to Argiletum, opposite Caesar's Forum. There is a shop with its doorposts completely covered by advertisements, so that you can read the entire list of poets at a glance. Look for me there. Ask for a Trectus, that being the name of the shop's proprietor, and he will hand you from the first or second pigeonhole a marshal, shaved with pumice and smart with purple, for 5 denarii. You're not worth it, you say. You're a man of sense, Lupercus. 118. He for whom reading 100 epigrams is not enough will never have enough of a bad thing, Caecilianus.